All right, so here we are. I get to have an awesome conversation with my friend Rhys. Rhys joined the Masculine Leader in late 2024, and we get to have a conversation today, just talking about his experience of the program, what occurred for him, what he created, where are still areas that he wants to create into, and really we just get to have a good time and connect with one another. So Rhys, is there anything that you would want, the listeners to know about you? Anything you want to just share?
I stumbled on the course after reading Dr. Glover's book, um, and it intrigued me, interested me. It's kind of one of the first coaching experiences that I've been on, even though I've spent a lot of time paying a lot of attention to self development stuff. Um, and I've done NLP training and stuff before. Never actually had the coaching experience, and so I I found Andrew and I basically set myself up to do his coaching course, which is so far been really, really amazing experience. Not quite what I expected, but really good.
Yeah, well, and that's even, I'm gonna just write that down so we can come back to it. Um, and is there anything that you would just want somebody to know about you, like where you are in the world, career,
Ah,
lifestyle, that type of thing?
yeah, so I'm in the UK, southwest, around Bristol. Um, I've been working as a marine electrician for the last 10, 15 years. And I'm looking to change my career into doing coaching myself or NLP, hypnotherapy, or, a myriad of self-improvement techniques. Yeah, I kind of want to get out there and help other people do their thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, as you're just speaking to like the experience that you've had so far, isn't quite what you expected. And so if we even go back to, where you were as, you're making the decision to come into the program, what were some of the expectations that you had? Like what did you think this experience was going to be like?
Well, I came into the experience kind of thinking, oh, I need to improve my productivity. I need to make my business work better. I need to earn more money and all the rest of it. And I actually realized or got from the course that that kind of isn't where I was at and what it is that I was working on. And it's just very subtly like all of the areas of focus for me, it's like they weren't the areas that I needed to focus on, and and it's come up in doing this course. Um, so it's quite difficult to kind of describe the concept of that, but I had strong ideas of what it is that I was going to learn and how well it is that I was going to do.
Mm.
Um, but a whole bunch of other really, really great as well. It's important to note that, but really great things came up instead, um, which I think are going to actually and are actually solving all of the overlying problems rather than me focus on like the surface level stuff. So yeah, it's given me a lot of insight into yeah, the underlying stuff. The underlying stuff is really, really important. Almost like keeping yourself happy makes all the rest of the stuff sort itself out. Is probably the
Right.
simplest way I can put it.
Well, and it's so cool that you speak to it because from my vantage point, there's a reason why we have that conversation in the beginning about like, hey, what do you want to create in this experience? I
Mm.
think not that I've been in every single coaching program in the world, but I think that even that part gets missed sometimes. People just kind of step over that, and then they get to the end of the experience, they're like, oh, that, I didn't get what I wanted from this experience, and I don't even know what I was going after, in that
Yeah,
sense,
yeah,
right? And so that's why I like to have that conversation and sort of set the framework of like, hey, what are you playing for? What would be meaningful for you to create in this experience? And it's so cool that the deeper thing that was there for you, even this piece around happiness, it's it has an impact on all those areas.
yeah.
Because here's the thing: if we actually, because I wrote this down, if we look back at some of those things that you spoke to, right? YouTube
Mhm.
channel, the money one, I would say that at least the first step you've generated. We could talk about the second one, in terms of that target for September, and even in your NLP business, right? Like some of these targets, I would say we like haven't been hit yet, and
No.
yet with what's been created, what's the possibilities for those areas now?
Oh, hundreds of percent higher. Hundreds of percent higher. I feel so much more confident about chasing it. Um, I've noticed the subtleties in the way it is that I'm thinking about those things. Like at the start of the course, setting myself up to actually be a coach or an NLP instructor or practitioner, it's like, oh yeah, I would like to be one day at the start of the course.
Mm,
And now for me in my head, it's like I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but it definitely is going to happen, you know? And I'm pointing towards it. It just doesn't feel like a dream anymore. It just feels like
right.
a period of time before that problem gets solved. And and that's it just feels so much more rewarding. It's really it just feels like an easy journey that I just got to take the steps for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's very, very, very different, and all of that in 3 months. It's not a great deal of time.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's presented a lot of value for me, particularly as like one of my biggest areas is obviously self confidence and self belief. Yeah.
absolutely. And um, what what sort of occurs in the experience that helps foster that deeper self-confidence, that deeper trust? Like what became present to you?
Well, obviously you've got um, the modules, which are just simple pieces, little pieces of coursework. Let's say that um, they inspire new thought. Um, Shedding, a lot of shedding,
Mm,
getting rid of stuff. Um, and I don't know. I think there's something in the group calls and the questions that you ask, the way it is that you present those questions. It holds a level of thought that is, it's like that's the useful way to think. So you practice thinking in useful ways rather than not, thinking in the ways that you've always thought, so nothing changes. Um, and I've really enjoyed that creativity. I've really enjoyed having the space to be able to practice the different the different thinking. Um, Seeing the comparisons with the other guys in the group calls is also really useful because it's it allows you to see where it is that you improve. It can allow you to see where it is that you want to go. It can allow you to see how it is that other people have solved problems. Um, there's so much in it. It's great. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, and as I just reflect on you and the experience and what I was witnessing, I mean, there's a few places that I could take this, but I it feels like to me that your devotion to just deepening, to understanding some of these concepts, that that shedding like you're speaking to, that came from that, it again, I'm sort of speaking from what I was witness to. It allows for your humanity to be in the space,
Mm,
again, and the places that I really specifically look at with you, where you spent a lot of time was with clearing and completion,
mm.
and these are concepts and tools that we use in this experience. But um it really felt like that shedding just allowed you to just really be connected to your authentic greatness. Just, you are Rhys. You are this beautiful, powerful man who, you don't have to be anything. You don't have to be any label or any certain way. You just
Mm.
get to be you. And that was really what I've witnessed from you in this experience. Not that it wasn't there in the beginning. It was definitely there, but it almost like an easeful dropping in of like, I just get to be me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Genuinely, authentically. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been really, really cool.
Hmm. Hmm. So, um, one of the places that I would be curious about was like, um, were there any hurdles that you ran into, or any just roadblocks or moments where you're like, this is frustrating, this is not going
All
how I
the
want
time.
it to go?
This all the time. All the time. Every moment.
Mm,
Um, like completing the modules, for example. Um, staying in integrity with agreements and stuff like that. It made me realize a lot about how, if the mind wants to, it's so easy just to drop. Well, it's so easy, one, to say the things that you think that you want to do, then so easy to drop the thing because you've taken on too much, or you just don't have time, or maybe you shouldn't have said that you could do it anyway because you didn't you haven't got the time to do it. Um and and yeah, and then balancing that with actually getting stuck in to doing the work and doing the modules and turning up to it, um, for a sustained period of time, rather than
yes.
just doing one or doing two and then being like, oh, I don't have to pay attention to it for, you know. So yeah, yeah, lots and lots of frustration with it, lots of frustration. Um, but I guess that's not so much frustration with the course. That's more frustration with how I manage the course, to be honest. Um, yeah, it's been difficult at times, um, standing and being counted when it is that I've been out of integrity or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but showing up's been important for me, and it's like I've not wanted to, like, even in those moments where it is that I've sort of wanted to duck out, close the computer, ignore the message, not pay attention to any of that stuff. I've always tried to do the opposite and like turn up and write a note and
Yeah.
make the apology or whatever's required, so to speak. But yeah, I would say
Yeah.
many
Many
frustrations.
moments. Yeah. Yeah. And, um, I really appreciate you speaking to it because, even there's sort of two parts that I'm going to speak to. One of this is how it goes for a lot of people in the world in this dynamic of performance that, I would say sort of level one, maybe level two, but this is not a fully defined model yet. But, like where you're sort of speaking to is that like, and I'm going to connect it to this other part that you brought in as well, that you are a man of intention, right? And building the muscle of I want to go in this direction and I'm making a commitment to do it. For
Yeah.
most people in the world, they a lot of people don't even allow themselves to do that because of the pressure, the stress, the
Okay.
failure of what if I don't make that happen? Right? So you're already putting yourself out on the edge of playing in that way. You're calling yourself forward. You're playing a bigger game, which means that there's more sort of like at stake from a mental, and personal level. And I think that the real, so there's a deepening. There's like a real just like softening into that of like, hey, can I actually make my whatever it is that I'm wanting to go after, I'm intentional about it. I'm focused on it, but I am unattached to how it goes. And the beauty of that is as you continue to deepen into this, here we are talking about the NLP business, creating the business, for example. So
Yeah.
what you're speaking to is like it's now not a thought of like someday this will happen. You can see the possibilities of it happening this year. And then the next level of that is declaring the by when.
Yeah. Yeah. So by when? When am I going to do it? I need to see when the courses are. Well, no, it's just needs to happen, doesn't it? Like within the next
Yeah.
4 months or something like that. Have a website, have some stuff moving forwards towards it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, again, that's really one of the things that we've continued to foster and hone in this
Mm.
experience, like you're talking about with integrity, right? That, you know, the power of the masculine to be able to say, I'm going to do this by this date. I'm going to put all my effort and my energy and my creation to be able to
Mm.
stay in alignment with that target. That's playing at a bigger level. And then if for some reason we don't get there, we miss the target, that we can reestablish the integrity around that. That's
Mm.
a process that will serve us greatly for the rest of life.
Yeah. But yeah, staying on track, isn't it? That's the end of the day. You're not allowing the fallbacks or the pitfalls or the difficulties that you face in life. You're not allowing those to actually stop you.
Yeah, you be with them. You
Mm.
expect that they're going to come. You expect that they're going to come as a part of this business. It's, you have your vision. There's going to be things that happen, but really trusting that even no matter what, you'll still find the pathway.
Mm.
So thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for really speaking to it because I mean, I think this alone for others is going to be people are going to really sit with this. They're going to sit with like, what does this mean? What does this mean for me? And um as you start to bring this experience to completion, this phase of the masculine leader to completion, what are you present to? What's just like in your space in this moment?
I feel really ready for the next project, that's for sure. Um, the motivation that I've built and the attention to self-improvement that's come from doing the course alone, that's left its imprint. Like I feel so much more motivated to get on and create a better environment for myself, doing the things, doing the exercise, doing the clearing, doing meditation or grounding, making sure that I get that time in the sauna or having a massage,
Yes.
or just all of those self-care things. That's going to be my motivation this year. That is my motivation this year. On this course that I did in Italy over New Year, that was not a New Year's resolution, but like an intention for the year ahead. And my I wanted to keep it as simple and as broad as possible because it means that you can apply it to a lot of different areas, and that was that I wanted to always move towards love. So in my thought processes, in the work that I do, move towards love and excitement and just good feelings around creation, and pay attention to self-care. And that was the
Mm,
two things. That was the two things that I felt, from learning about the underlying parts in this course. That was the two things that I thought were most important, and everything else actually probably won't need that much attention, because if I'm doing those two things, then and I have got an idea that I'm moving towards, then it's just gonna all happen, because
mm.
I'm gonna have the energy to do it. I'm gonna have my health to do it, um, and it's always keeping it light, keeping it fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can feel the trust. You can really feel the trust just in your process, that
Yeah,
like, hey, if I really just embody these qualities, if I really just allow these qualities to emerge, love, the heart of it, um it leads the way in a
yeah.
sense. Yeah, it's so excellent. Is there anything else that you want to share about the experience of the masculine leader that maybe we haven't touched on or just is present for you?
Um, I guess I'd just like to kind of add that I kind of had to force myself to come on this course, because I knew that I was sort of mistrusting or distrusting of, um, like coaches, coaching, self-development stuff. Um, Only because I've had not bad experiences, but I've got kind of a chunk of insider knowledge, and I'm quite a skeptical person. So, um, having seen what I see with certain people, it's very difficult to kind of take the plunge and get started on a course. So when I started on Andrew's course, I had to just go, I'm going to do this, because if I don't just do something, then I'm never going to do anything, because I don't trust anyone. So I just literally blindly just did the course, and And then through the entirety of the course, when it is that I've been listening to Andrew and um, seeing how it operates and all of the content of it, I've been really, really, really impressed by the presentation of it. Um, there's a really good balance between entry and you can. It's kind of one of those courses where you can go really, really deep, or you can just come in and just harvest a whole bunch of surface level stuff off of it, which is still useful. Um, so it really is really broad reaching to regardless of what your intentions are coming into the course itself, and it's really really useful. It's really useful. There's so much to it, and Andrew's great. So anyone watching this, join the course. Do the course. It's great.
For sure. Yeah, and thank you for that. I mean, um, I love that I know we talked about the trust piece, yesterday in our conversation, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's to me, I just feel honored, that, maybe it was the time and space, but that one of the things that you really presented in some of our first just messaging conversations was around like trust and trusting of
Yeah.
coaching containers. And yet it feels like you really stepped into that right from our first conversation. Like you just you allowed it to happen, and then throughout the experience, you you really like you brought your all to the experience. I know that there's still some areas that you can dive into in the program still, and look at deepen into that type of thing, but like I guess just the piece that really was there was like, you know, you you were engaged in the check-in process. You stayed engaged in the conversation. You kept me updated. You connected with the guys. You're willing to support the other men. And it's like, in a sense, it's like I think that the beauty of it is like you could probably just step into any experience and make it what you want it to be because you are generating the experience. And so, I just want to speak to that because again, like I love this container, and it's the people that come into the container that really do create the experience.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it still needs a facilitator.
For sure.
Someone has still got to sit by the door and make sure that people
Yeah.
don't leave their jumpers behind when they leave and things.
For sure. And that's the partnership of it,
Yeah,
but I mean, and
it's
that's what
cool.
I love about an experience like this is that it requires partnership, and it require, you get everything that you put into the experience, in that sense. And as you very much spoken to, and there's this is what I really love about this is that we have no idea what can be created in an experience like this.
Yeah,
And even for me, I'm becoming more attuned to that, of just that a man can step into this experience with a blank canvas and something will be created, probably something powerful.
yeah,
And if even it sounds, the way I'm presenting is it sounds minor, but it's like if a man just steps into this experience with a focus on self, it could be a magical experience. We have no idea what could be created in that. And
mm,
so I love for you that like the thing that was created wasn't what you expected, and yet it has ripples in all those areas that you were wanting to create, which is
yeah.
really cool.
It is really cool. That is really cool because it feels like the learning is deeper that way, a lot
Yeah.
deeper. I didn't just come and learn how to write on a piece of paper. I came and
Yes.
learned how to be happy writing. So when I write on a piece of paper now, I'm smiling when I do it. It's like it's really, really, it's a really different experience to have. and it brings just a totally different quality of life to everything.
Mm,
Yeah, that's really
yeah.
cool.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to share and just share your experience. Is there anything that you would want to share about the audience, about what you're up to in terms of this work that you're doing and you're stepping into?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be doing a lot more embodiment work, NLP. Um, I want to open my own kind of coaching business. I'm still not sure whether I'm gonna label it NLP. I think I'll probably start with
Yeah.
just labeling it NLP. That's what I've got my certificates in. So, um, and I quite like the compactness of the NLP. It can work very, very quickly in conversation to solve all sorts of different problems. It's quite light and easy to access. It doesn't it doesn't mean that you have to sit and talk for a long time about problems or anything. Um, and it can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun doing the exercises. And so, yeah, I'm going to be opening that. I said April earlier in this interview, so why not? Let's say April. Let's say by the end of April. Um, I'm going to be running and be open to clients in the UK. And now that I know that I can do it on Zoom as well,
Mm,
internationally, um, for NLP sessions to
excellent.
help people remove the blocks in their lives, anything that they might find that they have struggled with, or anything that they might not be struggling with it, but they might want to do better at it. Um, because yeah, I found that NLP is a really good way to turn the volume up on anything, or change it almost instantly, but definitely with practice.
Excellent. And so when you get the links up for program offerings and website, please feel free to share those with me. And in the meantime, what's the best way that somebody could connect with you?
Probably directly on Facebook
Yeah,
under contact Rhys Thomas. Um, I don't know if you can share a link to my Facebook
I
with them.
definitely can. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
because there's probably quite a few Rhys Thomases, aren't there, on Facebook?
Yeah,
But yeah, I should just put together a Facebook page actually.
sure.
Maybe an NLP Facebook page might be better. And yeah, I'll share that with you, Andrew,
Yeah,
if you're up
that'd be
for it.
excellent.
Right.
That'd be excellent. All right. Well, to wrap up the conversation here, can I give you some acknowledgement?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Rhys, I just acknowledge you for your heart. I mean, I think that, the one thing that we didn't get to touch on as much in this conversation, but the way that you hold space, the way that you hold others in the conversation, and that real just connection piece that's there. I really acknowledge you for that, because I think that is the gold ticket to, who you want to be and how you want to create these next steps in terms of business, but really in how you want to be with others in the world as well. So I just really acknowledge you for your heart, for the love, for the connection that you bring into the space. Um, I acknowledge you for your dedication, for your practice, and for your commitment, because um, I think that what this experience really shows is just how masterful you are in that, and your willingness to really like go back and refine, go back and refine, go back and refine, keep seeing the deeper elements of these concepts. It's a very, very masterful skill. And I think that like you pair that with the commitment, the dedication that you have. And I know from, even in our beginning conversations, there were some beliefs around like, I don't know if I've got this. I don't know if I've got this skill set long term, this being. And I think that like what this really showed is that like this is a vast dynamic, right? Yeah, some days maybe you don't have it. Maybe some days you need that rest, but like overall the quality of being is there. And so thanks for really bringing that in this experience. And um what else is there for me? I want to acknowledge one more area because I feel like it's present and I just can't speak to it in this second. But I acknowledge you for your courage, your masculinity, your presence. I think again, like these are things that it's easy to just step over and not speak to, but like it's so fundamentally in the space that you kind of you combine it with the love that you bring this like very loving presence, but you bring this strong masculine core. I have no doubts there's challenge there, there's rigor there, and it's just great. Like it's just great to be with. The humor and yet I can feel the rigor behind that and these same dynamics of even like commitment and challenge. And so thank you for bringing all of you into the experience, and I wanted to give you that acknowledgement.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks,
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that.
Absolutely, brother. All right. Well, we'll end it here for today. For folks who end up listening to this at another time, please feel free to ask any questions or just, please feel free to connect with Rhys as well. And we'll make sure to put that contact information in the show notes. All right. Thanks.